Joe Biden is starting to remind me a lot of every president since LBJ, okay? About a month ago, he dropped the N-bomb, not unlike LBJ. We're waiting for him to resign so he can resemble quite a bit of Richard Nixon. He did something earlier today which evokes a lot of Gerald Ford comparisons. And this right here is just another affirmation that he is so much like Jimmy Carter, okay? And we all know he has the Alzheimer's of latter-day Ronald Reagan. He breaks promises like HW, and I think the only thing that's left to complete the comparison carousel is for him to just choke on a pretzel a la George W. Bush, but he's still got quite a long way left in his term as president, I think, potentially, but I can't be sure about this because he's making an ass out of himself on the federal or on the world stage. And yeah, you have world leaders just mocking him, and in this instance, right to his face, because there's a talk, or rather a meeting happening right now in Anchorage, Alaska, between Xi Jinping's CCP delegation and Biden's cabal of morons that are out there. It's not good. It's really not good. No two ways about this. The Sino-US talks in Anchorage, or in Alaska, they're in Anchorage, Alaska, obviously, got off to a rocky start on March 18th when the top diplomats of both countries trade sharp criticism of each other's policies in front of reporters. Yeah, one side was a little bit more pointed than the other, and I'll give you two guesses as to who was making the sharp criticism, and then the rebuttal from the other side was no you. The two-day bilateral meeting in Anchorage, Alaska was the first high-level in-person talks between Beijing and Washington since President Joe Biden took office in January. Heading the U.S. delegation was Secretary of State Antony Blinken, dude is a turbo cuck, and National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan. Well, the Chinese side was represented by Foreign Minister Wang Yi, who whipped it out and flopped it on the table, and senior foreign policy diplomat Yang Jiechi. Also discuss our deep concern with the actions by China, including Xinjiang, Hong Kong, Taiwan, cyber attacks in the United States, and economic coercion towards our allies. Each of these actions threatens a rules-based order that maintains global stability, said Blinken in his opening remark. And just a little side note, opening remarks were supposed to be 2 minutes on each side because, I don't know, apparently the Biden administration, every single one of them needs strict rules and regulations to get anything done. And the Chinese side went on a 20-minute long rampage, just completely destroying them. So yeah, just more pleasantries and fucking ass-kissing. Soon after, Yang, via an interpreter, said, "It was my bad. When I entered this room, I should have reminded the U.S. side of paying attention to its tone in our respective opening remarks, but I didn't." He then accused the U.S. side of speaking in a condescending way. "We believe that it is important for the United States to change its own image and to stop advancing its own democracy in the rest of the world." That's the Chinese job now. They think that they're the superpower in the world, and frankly, they're gaining a lot of ground because of weak things such as this, and that they'd rather put their communism out on the world. Not something that anybody should be advocating for. Unless you're part of the CCP itself, then of course you want world domination. Many people within the United States actually have little confidence in democracy of the United States. Yep. Mostly by your guys' doing, adopting old USSR tactics and successfully implementing them into Western society. That's facts. China will not accept unwanted accusations from the U.S. side. The Chinese delegation seems to have arrived intent on grandstanding, focused on public theatrics and dramatics over substance, the official added, trying to debunk the Chinese delegation, also pointing out that, well, here's what he's saying. Wang also blasted the United States slapping sanctions on Chinese officials over Beijing's rollback of democracy in Hong Kong a day before the talks, saying, "I don't think this is the way you should normally treat a guest." Also blasting things like BLM and blacks being murdered in the streets, apparently, and the fact that Joe Biden's not really being taken seriously anywhere. But yeah, what did Blinken say in response? "I'm hearing deep satisfaction that the United States is back and we're re-engaged." Bruh, you got your ass chewed out for 20 minutes, and the best thing you can say is, "Well, some people think that we're good and that we're just going to be back in this fight now because Orange Man bad." Do you think the CCP are going to go ahead and kowtow to that? They were being checked by Trump, okay? those sanctions, always being called out, renegotiating trade agreements, things that you aren't doing. Instead, you're just getting 4-inch cock slapped by Yang over there. Like, you're not being taken seriously. And it's not just the CCP. Putin openly mocking Biden with humiliating debate challenge. Yeah, because in that ABC George Stephanopoulos love-in where they were sitting in a dark room together, probably after the camera stopped rolling, cracked open a bottle of champagne and they were going to suck each other's dicks, Joe Biden outright said that Putin was a murderer. I don't think that that's wrong. I don't think that that's a lie. I see 100% truth detected. But is that something you should be saying on a national stage? No. Not if you're going to follow up on it. Or if you're not going to follow up on it, sorry. So what did Putin do in response? Well, Russian President Vladimir Putin is openly mocking the President of the United States for his own amusement, Sean Hannity told viewers Thursday, and frankly, I find it, as an American citizen, humiliating. It is, because people with eyes have to go out and defend Vladimir Putin. Putin challenged President Biden to an on-air conversation to discuss Biden's latest warning that Putin would pay a price following a report containing evidence and attempted Russian interference in the 2020 election. Oh, I'm sure that one's fine to go out and say publicly. I've just thought of this now, Putin told a reporter in Moscow on Thursday. I want to invite President Biden to continue our discussion, but on the condition that we do it actually live. Ooh. But with no delays, directly in the open, direct discussion. Debate me, bro. Hannity then asked, why would Vladimir Putin immediately call for a debate with Joe Biden with no time to prepare? I wonder why. What have I been saying? When I compare Joe Biden to 2012 and even 2016, Joe Biden looks extremely weak, frail, often confused, and yes, he is struggling cognitively. It is obvious this is not brain surgery. Very much so. And I could also go ahead, yes, and he points it out here that Xi has called him out, or at least his delegation has, right to their face. And yeah, their response was, some people like us. Putin sees the senile old man in front of him and thinks that he can embarrass him on the public debate stage. And then he had Kim Jong-un not taking any of his calls, and his sister, one of his top advisors, Kim Jong-un's sister, openly mocking him and advocating for Kim not to even bother taking his phone calls. This is embarrassing. And it's not just embarrassing, it's fucking dangerous, dudes. The United States is in a very precarious position, okay? Half of the country is locked down and they think that it's a good idea. The other side is attempting to rebuild the damage that has been wrought by not just the lockdowns, but the regulations that are being put on via executive order. And the internal struggle is causing the world superpower to look weak on a global stage, and it's creating a power vacuum at the top, which the people who are number 2 and number 3 aren't good nations. They aren't led by good people. Like, as much as I think that Joe Biden's an idiot, I think that he's probably a decent guy somewhere, whatever's left up there, and the system will prevail, but just getting bitched out like this in public? Oh my God. I said that he reminds me of several other older presidents, and today, he pulled a Gerald Ford. Literally. Here, we're going to play this. He fell up the fucking stairs. Air Force One. Carpeted stairs. Stairs to an airplane that he's walked up thousands of times. Okay? As you can see, what, is it raining? No. Is it snowing? No. Is there anything on the steps? I highly doubt it. And the fucking old man takes a header. It's embarrassing. This is fucking sad. And the cover that's being run for it, White House says it was very windy when Biden fell up the stairs on Air Force One. Really? Dude, you guys mocked Trump for less, okay? So what did we see here? You guys, you probably remember this. Trump descended a ramp extremely carefully at the end of his West Point speech today. Look at this. Look at what? It's a fucking flat ramp, and he's walking. Is there anything terribly different? Like, there's still quite a bit of ice outside, and when I go for a run every day, I probably do that kind of a amended stride as well when I'm going over a particularly glassy point. But I'm not falling up the stairs. I'm not the leader of the free world either. And as if this couldn't even get better, Biden mocked Trump for slowly walking up and down ramps. Man, this is getting extremely sad. We're barely 100 days into this. He also, I think yesterday or the day before, he was giving a speech about something, and oh yeah, me and President Harris were getting a virtual walkthrough of a vaccination facility in Arizona. Correct himself. Didn't say Vice President Harris. My mistake. Oh, I'm sure. Made a little joke about it. No, I just continued on. Nobody's home anymore. You could get away with this type of leadership if you're some middle power, some shithole country. If this was 30 or 40 years ago, if this was post-Cold War, like how much shit did Bill Clinton really get into when he was trying to do a Groucho Marx impression with Monica Lewinsky's Slatch? Nobody was banging at the door of world supremacy. And you don't want the United States to fall to number 2 or number 3 behind the CCP. Because nothing could be worse. If you're going to be talked down to about blacks being murdered in the streets, oh, we don't like your tone and tenor. Look at what's happening. You guys have rampant hate crimes everywhere. You're getting talked down to by a regime that is actively running a genocide in the western half of their country. You're getting talked down to by a guy who thinks that the greatest fall of the world is the collapse of the USSR. You're having Rocket Man in a desolate country not take your phone calls. Oh, but at least he doesn't make mean tweets anymore. It's fucking sad. Go hang out with Trudeau in Ottawa. I'm sure he's already brewing some cocoa for you and has probably got your slippers just nice and warm, and he's probably got a blanket coming out of the dryer for you, so you'll be able to just have a nice relaxing weekend. It's fucking disgusting. But we'll cover this here later today. At least there are some states who see Biden for the senile old fool that he is, and are trying to hold him accountable. I don't know if that's going to be next, or I don't know if that's going to be the third video, but this is another one of those things that's only going to get worse because, and you guys know about dementia, you probably have some sort of experience with it, and this doesn't magically get better. And trust me, the alternative right there in the middle of the screen is not better at all. If you think the United States is getting disrespected now, just think how much worse it'll be with her in charge. With that said, I thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.